Hey everyone, today I'm going to give you a little bit of tough love. I'm going to talk about recovery and a couple other things. This is going to be a more serious video. Um, I've had people ask me, how could you be so positive? How did you get to where you're at? Well, you have to remember, I've been in recovery for 8 years. It didn't just happen overnight. That's not the way it works. Um, every day in recovery you have to make decisions. You have to make the right decisions. Like, after I got out of the outpatient program, um, I went back to the place I originally worked. And this is just an example. Um, and they were doing this contest on who could lose the most weight in a month. Um, they were putting like $50 in the pot. And whoever lost the most weight would get the $50. Well, part of me said, you know, I could totally win this. You know, I'm a pro. I'm a pro at losing weight. I'll do it. You know, the competitive side of eating disorders. And then the more healthier side of me said, no, Shannon, what are you doing? This is not okay, you know, and I didn't end up entering it. That was a decision I had to make. Every day there are decisions that you have to make. It's just the way it is. It's a hard, recovery is hard. You have to really want it. There's no halfway, no half-ass. You got to go for it and get it, and you have to want it. About a year after I got out of the recovery program, I went to work at the place that I was admitted into because it was a regular hospital with a behavioral health unit, and all of the patients with eating disorders or alcoholism or, you know, drug addicts had to go through the ER for a screening before they were admitted into the hospital. And even like a year after recovery, I had, you know, those weird thoughts. I remember eating disorder patients coming in, and I wanted so badly to go up to them and tell them they're going to be okay. But then I had that side of me that would think, you know, what if they look at you and think, oh my God, she's fat. You know, I don't want to go in recovery. You know, I had that weird side of me. You know, eventually I would talk myself, you know, and say, you know, that's just, you know, the crazy part talking. They're not going to think that. And, you know, by the end of me working there, which was like 2 years, you know, I was a lot better. You know, I didn't really think that anymore. But after a year in recovery, that's when I met my husband. And he knew that I was recovering from an eating disorder, but he didn't know really anything about them. And one of our first dates, he took me to the San Diego Zoo. And when we sat down to have lunch, you know, I kind of flipped out because I thought he was staring at me. I did not like people watching me eat. You know, I still don't like people watching me eat. It makes me uncomfortable. So ever since that time, he would always have to tell me, well, not now anymore, obviously, but, you know, for a while after that, he would have to make sure that I knew he wasn't staring at me. If he went to glance at me, he'd say, I'm not staring at you, it's okay. That's how strange I was. Then I went through a phase of having to make sure I ate my dinner no later than 3 o'clock, you know, and I remember him saying, you know, you're starting to scare me. So, you know, I went through like weird phases, and it did not just happen overnight. So if you're thinking that recovery is just going to happen overnight, no way. It's not going to happen overnight. So my whole point of this is to let you know that just because you're having a bad day, maybe today, and you don't think you could do it because maybe you had a slip up, that's not the way it works. It's not rainbows and sunshine. That's not the way recovery works. It's hard. It's an everyday thing. You have to make choices every day. I'm going to talk about a couple of girls that were in the program with me. One really, really serious, and one, you know, semi-serious. First of all, I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but the smaller you get, your body will grow extra hair to keep yourself warm. Yeah, not pretty. I had a lot of hair on my arms. It grew a lot thicker, and I got a lot of hair on my arms. Well, I don't anymore, but I did. one of the youngest patient in the program, she was 17. She had hair, her hair on her arms got like really long and curly, and she had like hair on her stomach, and I remember her crying because she had done so much damage to her body that they told her that she could never cheerlead again. And you might be thinking, oh, that's kind of stupid, who cares, right? Well, to her it was a big deal, you know, that was huge for her. But because of what she did to her body, you know, she couldn't do it anymore. Medically, you know, she couldn't do it anymore. Now to the friend, the serious one. I had a friend die that was in the program with me. From the beginning, though, I knew that she didn't really want the recovery. She would fight the whole time. She would fight during meals. You know, if we didn't eat like 90% of our meals, we would get a boost. It's like a like Ensure, like a protein drink. We would have to drink a boost. So pretty much every day she got a boost. After breakfast, we would go to our group and process and talk about our feelings, and somehow her boost always accidentally spilled. And when I was talking about hair, she had like hair all over her face. Not pretty. When we would be in groups, I would frequently glance at her, and she would just be like, her eyes would be shut and her mouth would be open, and she just really wasn't there. Her brain was so malnourished that she wasn't there. And you know, she was driving an hour every day to the program, which is not only scary, which wasn't only scary for her, but God, everybody else on the road. You know, she refused to do inpatient. She refused to go inpatient. She was staying with her parents. She ended up quitting outpatient recovery because she did not want, she was tired of having to eat the meals. Another sad thing about her was she lost her daughter. I think her daughter was like 10 or 11 at that time, but her daughter refused to see her because she didn't want to watch her die. And I remember talking to her several times. We'd go on smoke breaks and talk about it, and I would try to encourage her and everything, and you know, she would say she wanted to get better and she wanted her daughter back, but her actions proved otherwise. After she left the program, I called her a couple times, and she would complain, you know, how her parents were watching her all the time, and she had to be fed through an IV and stuff. And I would tell her, if you want to get better, you know, that's what you got to do. You have to be responsible for yourself. Like for me, when I was in the outpatient program, I stayed with my parents, and I asked them to monitor every single meal of mine. And I told them little rituals I would do before I was gonna, you know, practice my eating disorder, just to like kind of rat myself out so I couldn't do it. But she was fighting them the whole time, you know. Then about 2 months after I got out of recovery, or out of the program, I got out in October. I called her about a week before Christmas, and her mom told me that she passed away. Cardiac arrest in her sleep. It was hard to take. It was really hard to take, and I still think of her to this day. And she's one of the reasons that keeps me going and helping other people. Because some of you may or may not know this, and maybe some of you are in denial. The eating disorder will kill you. It's just a matter of time. And I know some of you probably say, oh, you know, I'll work on it tomorrow or next week, you know, no. Today. Start today. You don't know how much time you have left. And just remember, just because I'm recovered and I'm, you know, happy and able to talk about this stuff and be positive about it, don't think for 1 second that it was easy for me, because it wasn't. It was hard every day. You have to be there. You have to want it. You have to fight hard for it. There's no half-ass. Bring it. That's all I wanted to say to you guys. sorry if I depressed any of you, but I think that some of you need to hear it and need to know that recovery is not that easy, so don't get frustrated if someone else is doing better than you are. It's an everyday thing, everyday choices, and it's a long journey. Bye.